benefit program and other sources will provide financial support for projects with estimated cost of 11,500 crore rupees, such as the Kosi-Michi intra-state link and 20 other ongoing and new schemes, including barrages, river pollution abatement, and irrigation projects. In addition, survey and investigation of Kosi-related flood mitigation and irrigation projects will be undertaken. Assam grapples with floods every year by the Brahmaputra River and its tributaries originating outside India. We will provide assistance to Assam for flood management and related projects. Himachal Pradesh suffered extensive losses due to floods last year. Our government will provide assistance to the state for reconstruction and rehabilitation through multilateral development assistance. Uttarakhand too suffered losses due to cloudbursts and massive landslides. We will provide assistance to the state. Recently, Sikkim witnessed devastating flash floods and landslides that wreaked havoc across the state. Our government will provide assistance to the state. Tourism has always been a part of our civilization. Our efforts in positioning India as a global tourist destination will also create jobs, stimulate investments, and unlock economic opportunities for other sectors. In addition to the measures outlined in the interim budget, I propose the following measures. Vishnupad Temple at Gaya and Mahabodhi Temple at Bodh Gaya in Bihar are of immense spiritual significance. Comprehensive development of Vishnupad Temple Corridor and Mahabodhi Temple Corridor will be supported, modeled on the successful Kashi Vishwanath Temple Corridor to transform them into world-class pilgrim and tourist destinations. Rajgir holds immense religious significance for Hindus, Buddhists, and Jains. The 20th Tirthankara Muniswarata Temple in the Jain temple complex is ancient. The Saptarishi, or the 7 hot springs, form a warm water Brahmkund that is sacred. A comprehensive development initiative for Rajgir will be undertaken. Our government will support the development of Nalanda as a tourist center, besides reviving Nalanda University to its glorious stature. Odisha's scenic beauty, temples, monuments, craftsmanship, wildlife sanctuaries, natural landscapes, and pristine beaches make it an ultimate tourism destination. Our government will provide assistance for their development to Odisha as well. Priority 8, innovation, research, and development. We will operationalize the Anusandhan National Research Fund for basic research and prototype development. Further, we will set up a mechanism for spurring private sector-driven research and innovation at commercial scale with a financing pool of 1 lakh crore rupees in line with the announcement in the interim budget. Space economy, with our continued emphasis on expanding the space economy by 5 times in the next 10 years, a venture capital fund of 1,000 crore rupees will be set up. Priority 9, next generation reforms. Economic policy framework. We will formulate an economic policy framework to delineate the overarching approach to economic development and set the scope of the next generation of reforms for facilitating employment opportunities and sustaining high growth. Our government will initiate and incentivize reforms for 1. Improving productivity of factors of production, and 2. Facilitating markets and sectors to become more efficient. These reforms will cover all factors of production, namely land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship, and technology as an enabler of improving total factor productivity and bridging inequality. Effective implementation of several of these reforms requires collaboration between the center and the states and building consensus as development of the country lies in development of the states. For promoting competitive federalism and incentivizing states for faster implementation of reforms, I propose to earmark a significant part of the 50-year interest-free loan. Working with the states, we will initiate the following reforms. Land-related reforms and actions, both in the rural and urban areas, will cover land administration, will cover 1. Land administration, planning and management, and 2. Urban planning usage and building bylaws. These will be incentivized for completion within the next 3 years through appropriate fiscal support. Rural land-related actions. Rural land-related actions will include 1. Assignment of unique land parcel identification number, UL PIN, or Bhu Aadhaar for all lands. 2. Digitization of cadastral maps. 3. Survey of subdivisions, survey of map subdivisions as per current ownership. 4. Establishment of land registry. And 5. Linking to the farmers registry. These actions will also facilitate credit flow and other agricultural services. Urban land related actions. Land records in urban areas will be digitized with GIS mapping. An IT-based system for property record administration, updating, and tax administration will be established. These will also facilitate improving the financial position of urban local bodies. Labor-related reforms. Services to labor. Our government will facilitate the provision of a wide array of services to labor, including those for employment and skilling. A comprehensive integration of eShram portal with other portals will facilitate such one-stop solution. Open architecture databases for the rapidly changing labor market, skill requirements, and available job roles, and a mechanism to connect job aspirants with potential employers and skill providers will be covered in these services. Shram Suvidha and Samadhan portal. Shram Suvidha and Samadhan portal will be revamped to enhance ease of compliance for industry and trade. Capital and entrepreneurship related reforms. Financial sector vision and strategy. For meeting financing needs of the economy, our government will bring out a financial sector vision and strategy document to prepare the sector in terms of size, capacity, and skills. This will set the agenda for the next 5 years and guide the work of the government, regulators, financial institutions, and market participants. Taxonomy for climate finance. We will develop taxonomy for climate finance for enhancing the availability of capital for climate adaptation and mitigation. This will support achievement of the country's climate commitments and green transition. Variable capital company structure. We will seek the required legislative approval for providing an efficient and flexible mode for financing leasing of aircrafts and ships and pooled funds of private equity through a variable company structure. Foreign direct investments and overseas investment. The rules and regulations for foreign direct investment and overseas investments will be simplified to 1. Facilitate foreign direct investments, 2. Nudge prioritization, and 3. Promote opportunities for using Indian rupee as a currency for overseas investment. NPS Vatsalya. NPS Vatsalya, a plan for contribution by parents and guardians for minors, will be started. On attaining the age of majority, the plan can be converted seamlessly into a normal NPS account. Use of technology. We have successfully used technology for improving productivity and bridging inequality in our economy during the past 10 years. Public investment in digital infrastructure and innovations by the private sector have helped in improving access of all citizens, particularly the common people, to market resources, education, health and services. We will step up adoption of technology towards digitalization of the economy. Ease of doing business. For enhancing ease of doing business, we are already working on the Jan Vishwas Bill 2.0. Further, states will be incentivized for implementation of the business reforms, action plans, and digitalization. Data and statistics. For improving data governance, collection, processing and management of data and statistics, different sectoral databases, including those established under the Digital India Mission, will be utilized with active use of technology tools. New pension scheme. The committee to review the NPS has made considerable progress in its work. I am happy that the staff side of the National Council of the Joint Consultative Machinery for Central Government Employees has taken a constructive approach. A solution will be evolved which addresses the relevant issues while maintaining fiscal prudence to protect the common citizens. Budget estimates for 24-25. For the year 24-25, total receipts other than borrowings and the total expenditure are estimated at 32.07 lakh crore rupees and 48.21 lakh crore rupees respectively. The net tax receipts are estimated at 25.83 lakh crore rupees. The fiscal deficit is estimated at 4.9% of the GDP. The gross and the net market borrowings through dated securities during 24-25 are estimated at 14.01 lakh crore rupees and 11.63 lakh crore rupees respectively. Both will be less than that in 23-24. The fiscal consolidation path announced by me in 2021 has served our economy very well, and we aim to reach the deficit below 4.5% next year. The government is committed to staying the course. From 2026-27 onwards, our endeavor will be to keep the fiscal deficit each year such that the central government's debt will be on a declining path as percentage of GDP. I will now move to Part B. Indirect taxes. Sir, I start with GST. It has decreased tax incidence on the common man, reduced compliance burden and logistics cost for trade and industry, and enhanced revenues of the central and the state governments. It is a success of vast proportions. To multiply the benefits of GST, we will strive to further simplify and rationalize the tax structure and endeavor to expand it to the remaining sectors. My proposals for customs duties intend to support domestic manufacturing, deepen local value addition, promote export competitiveness, and simplify taxation while keeping the interest of the general public and consumers surmount. In Budget 22-23, we reduced the number of customs duty rates. I propose to undertake a comprehensive review of the rate structure over the next 6 months to rationalize and simplify it for ease of trade, removal of duty inversion, and reduction of disputes. I shall now take up sector-specific customs duty proposals. Medicine and medical equipments. To provide relief to cancer patients, I propose to fully exempt 3 more medicines from customs duties. I also propose changes in the BCD on X-ray tubes and flat panel detectors for use in medical X-ray machines under the phased manufacturing program so as to synchronize them with the domestic capacity addition. Mobile phone and related parts. With a 3-fold increase in domestic production and almost a 100-fold jump in exports of mobile phones over the last 6 years, the Indian mobile industry has matured. In the interest of consumers, I now propose to reduce the BCD on mobile phone, mobile PCBA, and mobile charger to 15%. Critical minerals. Minerals such as lithium, copper, cobalt, and rare earth elements are critical for sectors like nuclear energy, renewable energy, space, defense, telecommunications, and high-tech electronics. I propose to fully exempt customs duties on 25 critical minerals and reduce BCD on 2 of them. This will provide a major fillip to the processing and refining of such minerals and help secure their availability for these strategic and important sectors. Solar energy. Energy transition is critical in the fight against climate change. To support energy transition, I propose to expand the list of exempted capital goods for use in the manufacture of solar cells and panels in the country. Further, in view of sufficient domestic manufacturing capacity of solar gas, glass, and tinned copper interconnect, I propose not to extend the exemption of custom duties provided to them. Marine products. India's seafood exports in the last financial year touched an all-time high of more than 60,000 crores of rupees. Frozen shrimp accounted for about 2/3 of these exports. To enhance their competitiveness, I propose to reduce BCD on certain broodstock, polychaete worms, shrimp, and fish feed to 5%. I also propose to exempt customs duty on various inputs for manufacture of shrimp and fish feed. Leather and textile. Similarly, to enhance the competitiveness of exports in the leather and textile sectors, I propose to reduce BCD on real down-filling material from duck or goose. I am also making additions to the list of exempted goods for manufacture of leather and textile garments, footwear, and other leather articles for export. To rectify inversion in duty, I propose to reduce BCD subject to conditions on methylene diphenyl diisocyanate, MDI, for manufacture of spandex yarn from 7.5 to 5%. Furthermore, the export duty structure on raw hides, skin, and leather is proposed to be simplified and rationalized. Precious metals. To enhance domestic value addition in gold and precious metal jewelry in the country, I propose to reduce customs duties on gold and silver to 6% and that of platinum to 6.4%. Other metals, steel and copper are important raw materials. To reduce their cost of production, I propose to remove the BCD on ferronickel and blister copper. I am also continuing with nil BCD on ferrous scrap and nickel cathode and concessional BCD of 2.5% on copper scrap. Electronics. To increase value addition in the domestic electronics industry, I propose to remove the BCD subject to conditions on oxygen-free copper for manufacture of resistors. I also propose to exempt certain parts for manufacture of connectors. Chemicals and petrochemicals. To support existing and new capacities in the pipeline, I propose to increase the BCD on ammonium nitrate from 7.5% to 10%. Plastics. PVC flex banners are non-biodegradable and hazardous for environment and health. To curb their imports, I propose to raise the BCD on them from 10 to 25%. Telecommunication equipment. To incentivize domestic manufacturing, I propose to increase the BCD from 10 to 15% on PCBA of specified telecom equipment. Trade facilitation. To promote domestic aviation and boat and ship MRO, I propose to extend the period for export of goods imported for repairs from 6 months to 1 year. I'll read that again. To promote domestic aviation and boat and ship maintenance, repair and operations, I propose to extend the period for export of goods imported for repairs from 6 months to 1 year. In the same vein, I propose to extend the time limit for re-import of goods for repairs under warranty from 3 to 5 years. I now move to direct taxes. We will continue our efforts to simplify taxes, improve taxpayer services, provide tax certainty, and reduce litigation while enhancing revenues for funding the development and welfare schemes of the government. It has been our endeavor to simplify taxation. We have taken a number of measures in the last few years, including introduction of simplified tax regimes without exemptions and deductions for corporate tax and for personal income tax. This has been appreciated by taxpayers. 58% of corporate tax came from the simplified tax regime in the financial year 22-23. Similarly, as per data available till now, for the last fiscal, more than 2/3 have availed the new personal income tax regime. Comprehensive review of the Income Tax Act. I am now announcing a comprehensive review of the Income Tax Act 1961. The purpose is to make the Act concise, lucid, easy to read and understand. This will reduce disputes and litigation, thereby providing tax certainty to the taxpayers. I will also bring down the demand embroiled in litigation. It is proposed to be completed in 6 months. A beginning is being made in the finance bill by simplifying the tax regime for charities, TDS rate structures, provisions of reassessment and such provisions, and capital gains taxation. Simplification for charities and TDS. Two tax exemption regimes. The two tax exemption regimes for charities are proposed to be merged into one. The 5% TDS rate on many payments is being merged into the 2% TDS rate, and the 20% TDS rate on repurchase of units by mutual funds or UTI is being withdrawn. TDS rate on e-commerce operators is proposed to be reduced from 1 to 0.1%. Moreover, credit of TCS is proposed to be given in the TDS to be deducted on salary. Further, I propose to decriminalize delay for payment of TDS up to the due date of filing statement for the same. I also plan to provide a standard operating procedure for TDS defaults and simplify and rationalize the compounding guidelines for such defaults. Simplification of reassessment. I propose to thoroughly simplify the provisions for reopening and reassessment. An assessment hereinafter can be reopened beyond 3 years from the end of the assessment year only if the escaped income is 50 lakh rupees or more, up to a maximum period of 5 years from the end of the assessment year. Even in such cases, a time limit of 6 years before the year of the search, as against the existing time limit of 10 years, is being proposed. This will reduce tax uncertainty and disputes. Simplification and rationalization of capital gains. Capital gains taxation is also proposed to be hugely simplified. Short-term gains on certain financial assets shall henceforth attract a tax rate of 20%, while that on all other financial assets and all non-financial assets shall continue to attract the applicable tax rate. Long-term gains on all financial and non-financial assets, on the other hand, will attract a tax rate of 12.5%. For the benefit of the lower and the middle income classes, I propose to increase the limit of exemption of capital gains on certain financial assets to 1.25 lakh rupees per year. Listed financial assets held for more than a year will be classified as long-term, while unlisted financial assets and all non-financial assets will have to be held for at least 2 years to be classified as long-term. Unlisted bonds and debentures, debt mutual funds, and market-linked debentures, irrespective of holding period, however, will attract tax on capital gains at applicable rates. Taxpayer services. All the major taxpayer services under GST and most services under customs and income tax have been digitalized. All remaining services of customs and income tax, including rectification and order giving effect to appellate orders, shall be digitalized and made paperless over the next 2 years. Litigation and appeals. While our concerted efforts to reduce pendency of appeals at various appellate fora are beginning to show good results, it will continue to engage our highest attention. To dispose of the backlog of first appeals, I plan to deploy more officers to hear and decide such appeals, especially those with large tax effect. For resolution of certain income tax disputes pending an appeal, I am also proposing Vivad Se Vishwas Scheme 2024. Further, I propose to increase monetary limits for filing appeals related to direct taxes, excise and service tax in the tax tribunals, high courts and Supreme Court to 60 lakh rupees, 2 crore rupees and 5 crore respectively, with a view to reduce litigation and provide certainty in international taxation. We will expand the scope of safe harbor rules and make them more attractive. We will also streamline the transfer pricing assessment procedure. Employment and investment. I have a few proposals to promote investment and foster employment. First of all, to bolster the Indian startup ecosystem, boost the entrepreneurial spirit, and to support innovation, I propose to abolish the so-called angel tax for all classes of investors. Second, there is tremendous potential for cruise tourism in India. To give a fillip to this employment-generating industry, I am proposing a simpler tax regime for foreign shipping companies operating domestic cruises in the country. Third, India is a world leader in the diamond cutting and polishing industry, which employs a large number of skilled workers. To further promote the development of this sector, we would provide for safe harbor rates for foreign mining companies selling raw diamonds in the country. Fourth, to attract foreign capital for our development needs, I propose to reduce the corporate tax rate on foreign companies from 40 to 35%. Deepening the tax base. I have a couple of proposals for deepening the tax base. First, security transaction tax on futures and options of securities is proposed to be increased to 0.02% and 0.1% respectively. Second, for reasons of equity, I propose to tax income received on buyback of shares in the hands of recipients. Other proposals. To improve social security benefits, deduction of expenditure by employers towards NPS is proposed to be increased from 10 to 14% of the employee's salary. Similarly, deduction of this expenditure up to 14% of salary from the income of employees in private sector, public sector banks and undertakings opting for the new tax regime is proposed to be provided. Indian professionals working in multinationals get ESOPs and invest in social security schemes and other movable assets abroad. Non-reporting of such small foreign assets has penal consequences under the Black Money Act. Such non-reporting of movable assets up to 20 lakh rupees is proposed to be depenalized. Other major proposals in the finance bill relate to withdrawal of equalization levy of 2%, expansion of tax benefits to certain funds and entities in IFSCs, and immunity from penalty and prosecution to Benamidar on full and true disclosure so as to improve conviction under the Benami Transaction Prohibition Act 1988. Personal income tax. Coming to personal income tax rates, I have two announcements to make for those opting for the new tax regime. First, the standard deduction for salaried employees is proposed to be increased from 50,000 to 75,000 rupees. Similarly, deduction on family pension for pensioners is proposed to be enhanced from 15,000 to 25,000 rupees. This will provide relief to about 4 crore salaried individuals and pensioners. Second, in the new tax regime, the tax rate structure is proposed to be revised as follows. 0 to 3 lakh rupees, nil. 3 to 7 lakh rupees, 5%. 7 to 10 lakh rupees, 10%. 10 to 12 lakh rupees, 15%. 12 to 15 lakh rupees, 20%. And above 15 lakh rupees, 30%. As a result of these changes, a salaried employee in the new tax regime stands to save up to 17,500 rupees in income tax. Apart from these, I am also making some other changes as given in the annexure. As a result of these proposals, revenue of about 37,000 crore, that is 29,000 crore in direct taxes and 8,000 crore in indirect taxes will be foregone, while revenue of about 30,000 crore rupees will be additionally mobilized. Thus, the total revenue foregone is about 7,000 crores annually. Mr. Speaker, sir, with this, I commend the budget to this august House. Jai Hind.
Item number 2. Item number 2.
Sir, with your permission, I rise to lay on the table the following statements under Section 3 of the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management, FRBM Act 2003, Medium-Term Fiscal Policy cum Fiscal Policy Strategy Statement and Macroeconomic Framework Statement.
Item number 3.
Sir, with your permission, I rise to move for leave to introduce the Finance Number 2 Bill 2024.
प्रश्न ये कि विधेयक को पुनर्स्थापित करने की अनुमति प्रदान की जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें, मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्षवा अनुमति प्रदान की जाती है। माननीय मंत्री जी, अब विधेयक पुनर्स्थापित करें।
Sir, I introduce the bill.
Item number 4.
The Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir budget. Sir, I rise to present a statement, Hindi and English versions, of the estimated receipts and expenditure of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir for the year 24-25.
सभा की कार्रवाई कल बुधवार दिनांक 24 जुलाई 2024 को प्राप्त 11 बजे तक के लिए स्थगित की जाती है।
अगोड़ा पे पाइए बेस्ट होटल्स इन कमाल के प्राइसेस।
डोमेस्टिक एंड इंटरनेशनल दोनों।
अगोड़ा।
पूरा दिल्ली प्रदेश का सोशल मीडिया वॉलंटियर्स इन्फ्लुएंस लास्ट 2 hours में बहुत पेशेंट यू आर सिटिंग हियर and it is a very important time all of us are meeting because the elections in Delhi are May 25 and it's a very important election, capital city, 7 constituencies. Most of the narrative Delhi में हो सकता, इधर reputed journalists है, reputed influencers है, कांग्रेस का लेफ्ट लिबरल इकोसिस्टम में पूरा देश का विरोध क्या इन्फ्लुएंसेस है दिल्ली में बहुत ज्यादा है। तो दिल्ली में इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट आवर सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर्स they said the truth. हमारा पास स्टेज में चीफ गेस्ट दिल्ली प्रदेश का अध्यक्ष वीरेंद्र सचदेव साहब है, हमारा वाइस प्रेसिडेंट दिल्ली का बीजेपी कार्यक्रम का अध्यक्ष गजेंद्र यादव जी है, सोशल मीडिया का इंचार्ज रोहित उपाध्याय जी है, हमारा आईटी हेड पुनीत अग्रवाल जी है, हमारा स्टेट ऑर्गेनाइजिंग सेक्रेटरी पवन राणा जी है, और मीडिया फ्रेंड्स आर हियर. Friends, they have given about 40 minutes for me to talk to you. I'll take about 3 parts I would like to discuss with you. I never believe in the word called narrative. There is a difference between narrative and truth. BJP का social media का volunteers, we are on the side of truth. We are never on the side of narrative. I'll give you a small example to illustrate the difference between a narrative and a truth. We all know Congress party is declining. Just yesterday I was seeing in television channel, the previous Congress Delhi ka state president has joined BJP yesterday in the presence of our state president. So we all have seen. Across India we know Congress party is on a decline, possibly in 2024. June 4 when the counting happens, Congress party will come down to less than 50 member of parliament in the Lok Sabha. It will happen. But Congress का ecosystem जिंदा है. Whatever ecosystem has protected the Congress party over the last 50 years, that ecosystem is still intact. Our job as social media volunteers and people in the social media is to dismantle the Congress ka ecosystem, which is functioning more than the Congress party. So first 10 minutes, I'll take some examples to illustrate the difference between a narrative and a truth. There was a news article in a newspaper. 33% of girl students in a college have married their own professors. This is a news article. 33% of girl students in a college have married their own professors. Immediately the ecosystem will say what is happening in our country. 33% girl students have married their own professors. What is it? We are not getting into the value judgment of right or wrong. Now this is a narration, a narrative, which says 33% girl students have married their professors. But if you look at the truth, that class might have only 3 girl students, and 1 girl student might have married their professor. That is their personal relationship, nobody is bothered. So 1 girl student marrying their professor, that is the truth. But the narrative is 33% of girl students in a college have married the professor. Our job is to bust this narrative wherever a false narrative gains ground in the country, and using that narrative, they try to make a story out of it. In the last 10 years of Modi ji's rule, whatever good things, great things we have done, we are taking that to the elections in Delhi on May 25. But still the false narrative, the opposition used to do it for a lot of years, and they are using the false narrative even during this election. Now we have to understand, at one point of time, journalism in India, journalists in our country, they were literally considered God. And these journalists had so much access to power, they were even controlling the policy making. They were deciding who should meet the minister. If you observe carefully the Neera Radia tapes of that era, some of our top journalists in our country had unbridled access to power, to some of the top cabinet ministers. They even knew some of the policy decisions even before it happens. And many of the brokers had access to the ministers of UPA 1 and 2 through some of the journalists. The journalists believed they are God. And they were traveling freely with the top leaders. They had access to the Prime Minister. They were traveling in the same airplane along with the Prime Ministers to different parts of the world. Now after Modi ji has taken over our country as Prime Minister, from May 30, 2014, there is a difference. And everybody is treated equally. Nobody is given an extra access to the government. Even a journalist has to get information like the same source you and me can get the information. So this has created a cognitive dissonance. There is still a group of journalists belonging to the ecosystem who believe the institutions are collapsing simply because their access to power is cut. So this is why our social media volunteers, people who are sitting in this room, we have a very important role to play, not only during the elections, even before the elections also. Before I get into some of the political aspects which we need to discuss, I am still on the narration part. Just yesterday, there was a news article from Reporters Without Borders who said the press freedom in India is declining, and we all have read in the paper. Not only this, we keep reading a lot of articles in our newspapers which Indian media loves to cover in a big way. The institutions in our country are collapsing after BJP has taken over, BJP has come to the government. So very often they keep quoting couple of indexes, press freedom index, the democracy index, to say, oh, in India democracy is declining. And many newspapers cover it prominently. Again, I am giving this example as a second example to say how a narrative is set in our country by people who don't want to believe India is progressive. There is this freedom in world index which is covered largely, which talks about the democracy and civil liberty in each of the country. The freedom in world index is published by Freedom House based out of New York. India's civil liberty score, if you see, in 2018 was 42. In 2022, it has come down to 33. So now India's overall ranking has come down to 66, which India had during emergency. Emergency time में India का क्या score था? अभी Freedom and World Index has given the same score to us. Northern Cyprus, a country controlled by Turkey, is having a democracy score of 77, that is better than our country. Mongolia, which had a one-party system in 1990 till 1990, is having a score of 84, which according to Freedom and World Index is a free country. Now if you keep looking at it, this is a narrative. Now this will come in the paper, people will read it. But our job as social media volunteers, as influencers, is to dig the truth. To find what is really the truth, so that through our social media handles, through our ecosystem, we publish to the people at large. If you look at the truth of what is happening, this report, Freedom and World Index, which is coming in all the top newspapers, it is produced by a team of in-house staff, analyst, consultant, external analyst. It is not, they don't come to India, they don't meet you and me, they don't take survey in Tamil Nadu, survey in Kerala, survey in Delhi, and then they put out a score. So they have 25 questions which they give to a team of 100 people. They are the staff, analysts, consultant, experts. It is not by any common people of the country. These people fill out those 25 questions, the average answer is taken out, and then from New York they publish a survey stating, oh, India mein civil liberty score has come down. Not even a single Indian citizen answers the question there, whereby this number is derived. So this is where we should bring out the truth to say, this is all bogus things that keep coming during every election. The next one is the Economist magazine. Economist magazine publishes something called Economist Intelligent Unit Democracy, EIU. Again, if you look at it, it is published by the research and consulting arm of Economist magazine. India was ranked 27th in 2014. India, last available survey, we are ranked 46th in 2021. Our civil liberty score is less than Hong Kong and less than Sri Lanka. Again, if you see, how did Economist arrive at this number? Economist takes its number from a world value survey. And this world value survey, in which Economist score is based, after 2012, they have stopped reaching out to people to take survey. Again, this is based on expert opinion. After 2012, they never come to a ground. They never ask people what it is happening. Again, the world value survey, a group of people sit down, they mark their score. Friends, the reason I am starting with this example is, we should understand a narrative is a very, very powerful component in social media. So our job is to go beyond the narration. So the top 2 surveys in the world, which talks about civil liberty, both the surveys are done by in-house experts who answer a set of questions based on which this magazine publishes a report saying, ओ इंडिया में सिविल लिबर्टी कम हो गया, इंडिया में डेमोक्रेसी इज अंडर थ्रेट, and some Indian journalists based in our country, they will take this report, sit in a newspaper room or a TV room, they will have a prime time debate. So we have to understand in this age and time, our role here is to find the truth, find the information and bring out in the public domain. Because everything, whatever survey they bring about our country, it borders on bogus. There is nothing called reality to it. So we have to understand that is how 2024 elections is also being conducted. We have completed 2 phases of our election. Phase 1, 102 seats. Phase 2, closer to 88 seats. 190 seats in our country has finished elections. We have 5 more phases to go, including Delhi, which is on May 25. If you look at the issue that is being discussed, Congress party, Pura South mein, they are trying to set a narrative. Do you know why Modi ji wants 400? Because Modi ji wants to destroy the constitution. Modi ji wants to take away the rights of people. That is why he wants 400. Now if you look back at history, in social media, if you look back at any party which has destroyed India's constitution over the last 50 odd years, it is Congress party. 1952 they came to power. 1957 they came to power. 60, 66, 71, 76, 84, 89 was an outside government, 91, 2004, 2009. This many times Congress was sitting in power. If you look at number of times, the Congress prime ministers who dismantled the constitution at different times. Madam Indira Gandhi, she used Article 356 to dismiss governments 51 times. The whole Congress party used Article 356 91 times. India, different governments have used Article 356 slightly more than 100 times. The Congress party alone used it 91 times. Indira Gandhi ji alone used it 51 times. And only in the Congress period, the constitution was suspended. Basic civil liberty was curtailed. Anybody was arrested, thrown into jail, no questions asked. It is only during the Congress authoritarian government, they said, we can supersede judiciary, we can make somebody as the Chief Justice of our country, we will supersede 3-4 judges to make somebody a CJI. Now the same Congress is complaining that our party, Bharatiya Janata Party, when we come to power, with a larger mandate, constitution is under threat. Because here the problem is, many of the first time voters who are sitting in this room are outside in Delhi, who is voting in May 25 for the first time. Their age when Congress was in power last was 8 years. 2014, when somebody was born and 8 years, today they are 18, they are putting their first vote. 2004, when Congress came to power, previously, people were not even born. And those children are voting for the first time in 2024, May 25. It is important, many a time we have to remind the past. What happened in our country, how the country was run, how the constitution was handled, at different points of prime ministership, how the chief ministers were dismissed just like that. Yesterday, I was in Karnataka, in the northernmost part, a place called Gulbarga. Very important town in Karnataka. Gulbarga had given a chief minister to Karnataka state called Virendra Patel ji. So Virendra Patel ji was the chief minister of Karnataka when Rahul Gandhi ji, when Rajiv Gandhi ji was the prime minister. Rajiv Gandhi ji is boarding a plane in Bangalore. The press friends are asking him a question. Will Virendra Patel ji be changed as Karnataka's chief minister? Rajiv Gandhi ji did not answer the question. He boarded the plane. Even before the plane landed in Delhi, Virendra Patel ji was changed as Chief Minister of Karnataka. We have to understand how Congress practiced democracy in our nation. Both internal democracy as well as external democracy. Because a party, how well it practices internal democracy, only then the party can practice external democracy. This is a party which suspended constitution, used Article 356 just like a piece of paper, dismissed governments, changed the chief ministers, if they felt anybody is threat to the Congress ecosystem in Delhi, if they felt anybody is a threat to Gandhi Parivar from any part of our country, if there is a powerful Congress leader emerging in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, like Dharmaveerar Kamaraj in Tamil Nadu, or Virendra Patelji in Karnataka, the first thing they do from here, sitting in Gandhi Parivarji's family, make sure that person becomes a zero. Make sure that government is dismissed. Make sure new person is brought to power like a doormat. And this Congress party is crying, oh, look at the civil liberty score, look at press score, look at Economist magazine index score, look at this score. The institutions are collapsing. If it is one government in 10 years which never used 356 illegally, which respected the constitution in every single forum, which made sure even in 2014 when we had 283 MP, even in 2019 when we had more than 300 MP, we never brought an act called Ram Temple Act in Parliament. We never brought an act. We never brought an act called Ram Temple Act by which through a legislature we built a Ram Temple. This is a classic case of a party coming to power with an absolute majority, respecting the constitution, respecting the law of land, respecting the judiciary, waiting patiently like we have waited for 500 years, and whatever the judiciary's order was given, obeyed to the letter, not only in spirit, to the letter, and made sure Ram Temple was built. And Congress is breaking, and Congress is making an allegation against a party like Bharatiya Janata Party, which despite a super majority, we respected constitution, not only we respected, we strengthened the constitution in every available level. Friends, this is a very important narrative, because Congress doesn't have anything in the armory. They don't have a prime ministerial candidate. The India Alliance doesn't have a prime ministerial candidate. They don't have an overall national narrative, because Congress narrative in Tamil Nadu is entirely different. Congress narrative in Kerala is entirely different. Congress narrative in Karnataka is entirely different. Congress narrative in Andhra is entirely different. So we are seeing first two phases of election. We are seeing across the southern states, India Alliance, one narrative in one state is different from one narrative in the other state. We have to understand, since they don't have a narrative, they are running this national election like a local election, like a regional election. They are running this national election like an MLA election. It is important, social media volunteers and warriors here, we got to bring back, already we are bringing it back, we brought back, it is a national election for a prime ministerial candidate. It is not some chota-mota election where anybody can raise their hand and say, I aspire to be a prime minister. So it is important, in the next 20 days we all reflect, this is not for Delhi, this is for the country. And it is important in the country when we get BJP MPs, NDA MPs across the board, the national capital should have a sweep where all the 7 BJP MPs, once more, people give responsibility to them. Across Delhi, we all have Bharatiya Janata Party member of parliament across Delhi. So it is important, the truth that we tell, it is important the truth that we tell is it's a national election. It is not a narrativeless election. This election is for Modi ji, and this election is for all the 10 years of hard work Modi ji has put. And why we need 400? We need 400 to strengthen the constitution. Brothers and sisters, there is one more narrative Congress is running. Oh, why LPG cylinder is not given for 100 rupee? Why petrol is not given for 10 rupee? Why diesel is not given for 5 rupee? If you look at the manifestos of political parties in southern part of our country, DMK in its manifesto said, when we come to power, we will give LPG at 500 rupee. When we come to power, we will give petrol at 50 rupee. When we come to power, we will give diesel at 65 rupee. This is the manifesto which they were talking. So please vote for us, not for national security, not for anything else, not for economic growth, but we will reduce LPG, petrol and diesel price for you. Now we have to understand one thing. If you look at Congress party, or if you look at the political parties which are giving that manifesto, every election they keep saying this. Mr. P. Chidambaram, who was our finance minister during the Congress time, was an expert in lie. If there is a liar in chief of Congress, the title should be given to Mr. P. Chidambaram, who was our finance minister. Because he brought in a system where they said, oh, 2013-14 we will reduce petrol price, and not only will we reduce petrol price, we will artificially bring it down. How did they do it? First time in our country, Mr. P. Chidambaram issued something called petrol bond, gas bond. They issued bond to the public. They said, you please pay, get this bond. We will redeem the bond after 10 years, and using that money we will reduce petrol and diesel price. If you look at the data, the petrol bond that UPA2 issued to artificially reduce the petrol and LPG price by issuing bond. If you look at the date of redemption, the government of India has to redeem a bond, 7/3/2015, which means the first bond got redeemed, the government of India will pay money. 23/3/2015, second bond, we will pay money. Now I am reading the data for you, kindly listen. The bonds that UPA2 issued, by which they got money, by which they were able to artificially bring down petrol diesel price just for election, 16/10/2021 redemption, 28/11/2021, 10/11/2023, 12/2/2024, 15/9/2024, 4/2/2026, 23/3/2026. See, they have issued a bond, petrol bond, saying, hey, 15 years later, some government will come and redeem the bond. Some government will pay 1,34,000 crore, which we have mobilized by that bond. Now we want to reduce the price. If there is a single biggest fraud done on the Indian Constitution during the UPA 1 and 2, this petrol bond is the single biggest fraud they have done. They never said we will redeem the bond. See how intelligent they are. They didn't touch 2014 to 19 also. Because they thought by reducing petrol, diesel and all those drama, they will come to power in 2014. They said the redemption will happen after 2021. So 80% of bond which they took, they kept the redemption 2021, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026. So our government, Modi ji government, taking over after 2014, whatever Congress petrol bond they have issued, we are redeeming, paying that money. Because the government of our government is honoring that. This is how they set narrative. This is how they set narrative. And it is very, very important that we present the truth. We tell the people of our country. Rajiv Gandhi ji, in 1985, he was having an interview with Sam Pitroda. Sam Pitroda, you all know the infamous statement he made. So Rajiv Gandhi ji, Sam Pitroda asked him a question. 1985, how many of you are born in 1985, sir? Can you raise your hand? After 1985 you are born. How many of you are born after 1985? After 1985, my age is less than 38. Okay. Sam Pitroda is asking Rajiv Gandhi ji in 1985, when will Indian public get drinking water to their home by pipe? Rajiv Gandhi ji answers, in 5 years I will make sure every citizen in our country will get drinking water by pipe into their home. Many of you might not believe this. So 1985 that Rahul Gandhi ji actually said it. So I am going to play a video for you. You can just hear the audio. What Rajiv Gandhi ji said in 1985.
In 5 years.
So 1985 he says, we will give drinking water to every single person in our country in 5 years, meaning by 1990. When Modi ji announced the same scheme, Jal Jeevan Mission, 2019, August 15, when Modi ji announced it, that every household will get drinking water by pipe. So at that point of time, India had 16% houses which had drinking water coming by pipe, 16%. Which was 3 crore 24 lakh houses. Which was 3 crore 24 lakh houses. Now today, if you look at number of houses that is having drinking water by pipe, It is 76.28%. Now we have to understand what Congress said in 1985, what we are delivering now. 16% in 2019, this is Congress saying after 20 years, Modi ji took over in 2019, this scheme, we have delivered 76.28%. From 3.24 crore houses, it is 14 crore 73 lakh house as on today is having a drinking water. Again, Congress wanted to give house to our poor brothers and sisters who didn't have a concrete house. They were running this scheme in the name of Indira Gandhi ji. Throughout their tenure, 40 lakh houses were given in Indira Gandhi ji's name to the so-called poor. They said 40 lakh house we have given Indira Gandhi Awas Yojana. You have to understand the breadth, 53 years of Congress rule. 2014 to 24, we have delivered 4 crore houses, PM Awas Yojana. Now it is very important in this election, every voter should know this is an election between performance and non-performance over 50 years. This is an election of performance over 10 years and non-performance over 70 years. These small things, which sometimes gets forgotten, needs to be mentioned. I am going to play you a video of Rahul Gandhi ji, a recent video. I request you to kindly listen to this audio again.
तो जाति जनगणना से पूरे देश को पता लग जाएगा कि हिंदुस्तान का धन कहाँ है, किसके हाथ में है, पिछड़ों के हाथ में कितना, दलितों के हाथ में कितना, गरीब जनरल कास्ट के हाथ में कितना, महिलाओं के हाथ में कितना, पूरा साफ हो जाएगा सबके सामने। उसके बाद न्यू पॉलिटिक्स शुरू होगी।
Okay.
ऐसे कभी नहीं खड़े होंगे। अभी ये कह रहे भैया मुझे नहीं मालूम, कब कहेंगे भैया मेरे 50% लोग हैं, मेरे 2% धन है, मुझे 50% धन चाहिए। सीधी सी बात होगी। तो ये हमारी सोच है। जाति जनगणना पहला कदम है और ये सिर्फ जाति जनगणना नहीं होगा, ये इकोनॉमिक सर्वे होगा।
No, we have to understand when our Honorable Prime Minister sir is talking about the Congress very devious plan of economic redistribution. It is important, social media, our warriors who are here, it is important that we dig into it. After Prime Minister sir has spoken about the devious plan of Congress, it is important that we take this message to every single household. J.R.D. Tata was a close friend of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru ji. After our independence, first government, J.R.D. Tata ji was having a conversation with Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru ji, our first Prime Minister. In one of the conversations, J.R.D. Tata was mentioning, Nehru ji, हमारा पब्लिक सेक्टर यूनिट में थोड़ा सा प्रॉफिट होना पड़ेगा. The PSU should generate profit. It cannot be loss making in its life. Pandit Nehru ji replies to J.R.D. Tata, Tata ji, आप प्रॉफिट का वर्ड मत बोलना, वो डर्टी वर्ड है, मेरे को पसंद नहीं है. प्रॉफिट डर्टी वर्ड है, आप मत बोलना. This J.R.D. Tata ji records the conversation he had with Pandit Nehru. Later, J.R.D. Tata ji writes a foreword for a book about Tatas. In that book, J.R.D. Tata writes, if at all India's first Prime Minister was Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel ji instead of Pandit Nehru, probably India's economic prosperity and economic path would have taken a different turn. Now what Congress is doing, because we have to understand, in the first election, 1952-57, Communist was the second largest party. Communist Party had more number of MPs after Congress. Communist Party had this radical idea that economic redistribution has to happen like the model that is followed in Russia and China at different points of time. So our state, Rajaji, Chakravarti Rajagopalachari, our Governor General, he opposed this idea. He started a party called Swatantra Party. Swatantra Party was a direct competition to Congress Party, though Rajaji was part of the Congress Party initially. There, J.R.D. Tata again writes a letter to Nehru ji. You have to understand the context. in which Rahul Gandhi ji is speaking now. It is important we have to understand what is their plan. And through our channels, it is important we take it to the public at large. JRD Tata writes to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, we don't want Communist Party as number 2 in the parliament. India needs a responsible opposition. So we are going to fund the Swatantra Party also. Of course, we will give more money to Congress. Little money will give it to Swatantra Party. And Nehruji writes back to JRD Tata saying, that is your wish. But Swatantra Party can never be an opposition in our country, you take my word. So Nehruji was unhappy with Tata's giving money to Swatantra Party because they don't want a radical party in our country who can do what Russia and China did with the citizens. Now Rahul Gandhi ji, after the Congress manifesto, at multiple times, he has spoken not only is a caste census, but we have to do a financial census. And this financial census will capture the economic data of each person and his family. Based on this, Rahul Gandhi ji goes one step further to say, if somebody is having 2%, if somebody is having 50%, he says they have to correct that imbalance by making sure somebody is not having a 50%. Sam Pitroda ji goes one step further to say, in America when there is a wealth tax of 55%, why not? It's a time to have debate in our country. Now you have to understand, the Congress DVS plan is very clear. Whatever gains we have achieved, in the last 10 years we have taken 25 crore people in our country out of multi-dimensional poverty. 25 crore people we have taken out of poverty, and we have done some miraculous things we have done. We have built 4 crore houses, which is more than the population of Australia. In 10 years, we have delivered 4 crore houses. If you look at the number of houses which got drinking water, as we have spoken previously also, 14 crore houses have got drinking water to their home, which is more than the population of Germany. If you look at the number of people who have got Mudra loan, in our country the number of people who have got Mudra loan so that they can run an industry of their own, they can generate economic output. It is more than 30 crore people in our country, 39 crore people who have got a Mudra loan in a different context. This is more than the population of Brazil and many European countries combined. So this is our idea of making sure people who are in the bottom of the pyramid, you give them every means possible so that people have a fighting chance. Somebody is not able to get ration, give ration to 80 crore people. Not having a house, give a house with subsidy of 2,71,000. When he came to power in 2014, 64% of India had LPG. We have made it 100%. This is a way where we are taking care of have-nots in our economic model. The Congress model, which talks about radical redistribution, has to be killed in the thinking only. That is why it is very, very important, the volunteers who are sitting here, not only you talk about Rahul Gandhi's statement, not only you talk about Sam Pitroda's statement, you go back to what is Congress' original idea right from 1952. Be it Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's thinking, be it Indira Gandhi's thinking, be it their thinking at different points of time, how they want to snatch the hard-earned wealth of anybody who is in this country. So this is a very, very important election where Congress through its ecosystem, having this radical idea, can sneak into the back door. They can put all their economic theories to rest, conduct a caste census along with conduct an economic census, do an X-ray of this country, question you and me why we are having 2 cars, question somebody why they are having 2 bikes, question somebody why they are having 100 gram of gold, question somebody why they get paid this much money as a salary. So this is fundamentally a big disruption to our way of life. Congress is planning, that is why it is equally important people who are sitting here, we dig through the Congress design, talk about it so that it becomes a choice where any voter before going to the polling station will look at this choice, they will vote. So my humble request to all our social media warriors who are here, there is a narrative which they might set. It is important we set out the truth. and our truth becomes a positive narrative over a point of time, so that we tell the people of our country that we are here. When P. Chidambaram ji in his last speech as a Union Finance Minister he said, in 2044 we will become the world's third largest economy. He said 2044 we will become the world's largest economy. Because we all know when Congress came to power in 2004, we were the world's 11th largest economy. When Congress left power, we were the 10th largest economy. It took 10 years for them to climb one spot from 11 to 10. Whereas it took 10 years to climb from 10 to 5. This is very important. The people of our country can have to understand. The Congress thinking is to make India the third largest economy in 2044, which Modi ji is going to do it in 2027. Meaning we are saying 17 years of how Congress was thinking. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, it is very important, all the social media warriors who are sitting here, we got to convince the people of our country that our model has delivered. Our model is not incremental, it is leapfrogging. We are not adding one to it. Whatever the country was in 2014, we have doubled. Airport 74, we have taken it to 151. Number of universities, we have doubled. Number of medical seats, we have doubled. We have increased the pace of building national highway 3 times. If you look at any data, our country, we have doubled, tripled any indicator over the last 10 years. So people have to understand that Modi ji is going to double this in the next 5 years. 2027 will become the third largest economy. 2047 the goal. That is the importance of Viksit Bharat. When Modi ji is talking about Viksit Bharat, it is important in social media. We add strength to the Viksit Bharat argument. We add data to it. We add strength to the argument to say, yes, where the country was, where the country is now, where the country is going to be in 2030, 2045, and where Modi ji is going to take. If you look at all the 193 countries in the world, 2023, India was the fastest growing economy in the world. We were the fastest growing. Now, that is not important for us. International Monetary Fund says, in the next 20 years, India has got all the potential to average out and grow faster than any other country in the world. That is important to us. And this did not happen overnight. This happened by building systems. In the last 10 years, we have built systems. We have made sure the system is performing. And we are making sure this system is going to deliver results. You just look, sir. Yesterday, the GST data collection data has come in our country. I am going to read out some of the data for your information. The GST, what each state is contributing. Now, if you look at the data, Haryana, a state like Haryana, where BJP is in power, in 2023 April, we are taking April as a month, Haryana contributed 10,035 crore. 1 year later, 2024 April, Haryana is contributing 12,169 crore, which is an increase of 21%. If you look at Uttar Pradesh, where we are in power, where we built a model, 2023 April, we have contributed 10,320 crore UP. 2024 April, UP has contributed 12,290 crore, which is an increase of 19% in 1 year. If you look at Maharashtra, which is India's largest economic state, 2023 April 33,000 crore, 2024 April 37,000 crore, which is 13%. If you look at the state in which I come from, Tamil Nadu, 2023 April, Tamil Nadu we contributed 11,500 crore, 2024 April we are contributing 12,000 crore, which is an increase of 6%. Now this is a model that is working. Wherever BJP states are in power, you can look at the data, you can just take out BJP states in power, you can take Congress states in power, you can take Dravidian parties in power. Tamil Nadu is such a great state. For 60 years, Tamil Nadu was India's number 2 in terms of economic output after Maharashtra. Now Uttar Pradesh has overtaken us 3 months before. Haryana, GST tax collection has almost equaled us. A small state like Haryana, a big state like Tamil Nadu with 8.5 crore population. Though I feel bad as a Tamilian that all states should compete aggressively, there should be a healthy competition among us to say, oh, you did this, I am doing it. Now Tamil Nadu politicians, Dravidian parties, what they say, no, UP is growing, Haryana is growing because Modi ji is giving good care to those states. Modi ji is not giving good care to Tamil Nadu. This is how the election MK Stalin narrative. We have a uniform civil code in the directive principles of state policy. We are saying we are going to bring one country, one election. The whole of our country, 52, 57, 60, 67, 4 elections, first 4 elections till 1971, our country had one country, one election only. Till Congress started dismissing state governments, this order got changed. That we are bringing it back. That is part of our manifesto. So any statement that is written in BJP manifesto, we are strengthening Indian constitution like how Dr. B.R. Ambedkar ji wanted. But that point of time, some things were put in directive principles of state policy because somebody opposed it. Something was not put in fundamental rights, something was put in fundamental duty. Something was put in directive principles of state policy saying, when the conditions in our country improve, the government of the time can implement. So this is very, very important. The friends here, you have to make a narrative, make a truth to say why we need 400. We need 400 seats to strengthen the Indian constitution, to actually do what Dr. B.R. Ambedkar ji envisaged in 1947 to 50, before the constitution was presented, by which all these people dismantled a part of our constitution at different points of time. We want 400 to strengthen the constitution. This is a very important truth. All of us have to say why we have done it, what we have done it, what we intend to do in the next 5 years. The second one is our economic model. Now a Congress party says, we are going to give 1 lakh rupee to a poor. Now, Congress has to classify what is poor. Is it 20 crore? Is it 30 crore? Is it 40 crore? Is it 45 crore? Now if you look at our budget, which is 44 lakh crore, in social media people hear, we got to argue a case, 44 lakh crore central budget, great for some time. The political duplicity of Aam Aadmi Party, the political duplicity of India Alliance, my request to all of you is to put a video, is to put a long thread, and each of you, let us take a personal responsibility. We will take 5 subjects. 5 subjects will be on constitution, it will be on democracy, it will be on economics, it will be on our government, it will be on Delhi. We will take 5 subjects, we will do research, we will post it in social media, thereby we will generate a mass movement for the Delhi Bharatiya Janata Party, where all the 7 candidates across Delhi listening and for your patience. Thank you so much. Bharat Mata Ki. Spoken to Anna, I will talk in the evening. I'll talk in the evening. पूरा दिल्ली प्रदेश का सोशल मीडिया वॉलंटियर्स इन्फ्लुएंस लास्ट 2 hours में बहुत पेशेंट यू आर सिटिंग हियर एंड इट इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टाइम ऑल ऑफ अस आर मीटिंग बिकॉज द इलेक्शंस इन दिल्ली आर May 25 and it's a very important election, capital city, 7 constituencies. Most of the narrative दिल्ली में हो सकता, इधर रिपीटेड जर्नलिस्ट है, रिपीटेड इन्फ्लुएंसर्स है, कांग्रेस का लेफ्ट लिबरल इकोसिस्टम में पूरा देश का विरोध क्या इन्फ्लुएंसर्स है दिल्ली में बहुत ज्यादा है. तो दिल्ली में इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट अवर सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर्स दे सेट द ट्रूथ. हमारा पास स्टेज में चीफ गेस्ट दिल्ली प्रदेश का अध्यक्ष वीरेंद्र सचदेव साहब है, हमारा वाइस प्रेसिडेंट दिल्ली का बीजेपी कार्यक्रम का अध्यक्ष गजेंद्र यादव जी है, सोशल मीडिया का इंचार्ज रोहित उपाध्याय जी है, हमारा आईटी हेड पुनीत अग्रवाल जी है, हमारा स्टेट ऑर्गेनाइजिंग सेक्रेटरी पवन राणा जी है, और मीडिया फ्रेंड्स आर हियर. Friends, they have given about 40 minutes for me to talk to you. I'll take about 3 parts I would like to discuss with you. I never believe in the word called narrative. There is a difference between narrative and truth. BJP ka social media ka volunteers, we are on the side of truth. We are never on the side of narrative. So we all have seen. Across India, we know Congress party is on a decline, possibly in 2024. June 4, when the counting happens, Congress party will come down to less than 50 member of parliament in the Lok Sabha. It will happen. But Congress ka ecosystem jinda hai. Whatever ecosystem has protected the Congress party over the last 50 years, that ecosystem is still intact. Our job as social media volunteers and people in the social media is to dismantle the Congress ka ecosystem, which is functioning more than the Congress party. The first 10 minutes, I'll take some examples to illustrate the difference between a narrative and a truth. There was a news article in a newspaper. 33% of girl students in a college have married their own professors. This is a news article. 33% of girl students in a college have married their own professors. Immediately the ecosystem will say what is happening in our country. 33% girl students have married their own professors. What is it? We are not getting into the value judgment of right or wrong. Now this is a narration, a narrative, which says 33% girl students have married their professors. But if you look at the truth, that class might have only 3 girl students, and 1 girl student might have married their professor. That is their personal relationship. Nobody is bothered. So 1 girl student marrying their professor, that is the truth. But the narrative is 33% of girl students in a college have married the professor. Our job is to bust this narrative wherever a false narrative gains ground in the country, and using that narrative, they try to make a story out of it. In the last 10 years of Modi ji's rule, whatever good things, great things we have done, we are taking that to the elections in Delhi on May 25. But still the false narrative, the opposition used to do it for a lot of years, and they are using the false narrative even during this election. Now we have to understand, at one point of time, journalism in India, journalists in our country, they were literally considered God. And these journalists had so much access to power, they were even controlling the policy making. They were deciding who should meet the minister. If you observe carefully the Meera Radia tapes of the era, some of our top journalists in our country had unbridled access to power. To some of the top cabinet ministers, they even knew some of the policy decisions even before it happens. And many of the brokers had access to the ministers of UPA 1 and 2 through some of the journalists. The journalists believed they are God. And they were traveling freely with the top leaders. They had access to the Prime Minister. They were traveling in the same airplane along with the Prime Ministers to different parts of the world. Now after Modi ji has taken over our country as Prime Minister, from May 30, 2014, there is a difference. And everybody is treated equally. Nobody is given an extra access to the government. Even a journalist has to get information like the same source you and me can get the information. So this has created a cognitive dissonance. There is still a group of journalists belonging to the ecosystem who believe the institutions are collapsing simply because their access to power is cut. So this is why our social media volunteers, people who are sitting in this room, we have a very important role to play, not only during the elections, even before the elections also. Before I get into some of the political aspects which we need to discuss, I am still on the narration part. Just yesterday, there was a news article from Reporters Without Borders who said the press freedom in India is declining, and we all have written the paper. Not only this, we keep reading a lot of articles in our newspapers which Indian media loves to cover in a big way. The institutions in our country are collapsing after BJP has taken over, BJP has come to the government. So very often they keep quoting a couple of indexes, Press Freedom Index, the Democracy Index, to say oh, in India democracy is declining. And many newspapers cover it prominently. Again, I'm giving this example as a second example to say how a narrative is set in our country by people who don't want to believe India is progressive. There is this Freedom in World Index which is covered largely, which talks about the democracy and civil liberty in each of the country. The Freedom in World Index is published by Freedom House based out of New York. India's civil liberty score, if you see, in 2018 was 42. In 2022, it has come down to 33. So now India's overall ranking has come down to 66, which India had during emergency. Emergency time में India का क्या score था? अभी Freedom in World Index has given the same score to us. Northern Cyprus, a country controlled by Turkey, is having a democracy score of 77, that is better than our country. Mongolia, which had a one-party system in 1990 till 1990, is having a score of 84, which according to Freedom in World Index is a free country. And if you keep looking at it, this is a narrative. Now this will come in the paper, people will read it. But our job as social media volunteers, as influencers, is to dig the truth. To find what is really the truth, so that through our social media handles, through our ecosystem, we publish to the people at large. If you look at the truth of what is happening, this report, Freedom in World Index, which is coming in all the top newspapers, it is produced by a team of in-house staff, analyst, consultant, external analyst. It is not, they don't come to India, they don't meet you and me, they don't take survey in Tamil Nadu, survey in Kerala, survey in Delhi, and then they put out a score. So they have 25 questions which they give to a team of 100 people. They are the staff, analysts, consultant, experts. It is not by any common people of the country. These people fill out those 25 questions, the average answer is taken out, and then from New York they publish a survey stating, oh, India mein civil liberty score has come down. Not even a single Indian citizen answers the question there, whereby this number is derived. So this is where we should bring out the truth to say, this is all bogus things that keep coming during every election. The next one is the Economist magazine. Economist magazine publishes something called Economist Intelligent Unit Democracy, EIU. Again, if you look at it, it is published by the research and consulting arm of Economist magazine. India was ranked 27th in 2014. India, last available survey, we are ranked 46th in 2021. Our civil liberty score is less than Hong Kong and less than Sri Lanka. Again, if you see, how did Economist arrive at this number? Economist takes its number from a world value survey. And this world value survey, in which Economist score is based, after 2012, they have stopped reaching out to people to take survey. Again, this is based on expert opinion. After 2012, they never come to a ground. They never ask people what it is happening. Again, the world value survey, a group of people sit down, they mark their score. Friends, the reason I am starting with this example is, we should understand a narrative is a very, very powerful component in social media. So our job is to go beyond the narration. So the top 2 surveys in the world, which talks about civil liberty, both the surveys are done by in-house experts who answer a set of questions based on which this magazine publishes a report saying, oh, India mein civil liberty kam ho gaya, India mein democracy is under threat. And some Indian journalists based in our country, they will take this report, sit in a newspaper room or a TV room, they will have a prime time debate. So we have to understand in this age and time, our role here is to find the truth, find the information and bring out in the public domain. Because everything, whatever survey they bring about our country, it borders on bogus. There is nothing called reality to it. So we have to understand that is how 20